The Voice of the Silence. Chapter 340. For on path forth, the lightest breeze of passion, our desire, will stir the steady light upon the pure walls of soul, the smallest wave of longing or regret for Maya's gifts, elusive, along Anta Karana, the path that lies between thy spirit and thyself, the highway of sensations, the rude arousers of ahankara, the faculty that makes the illusion called the ego, a thought as fleeting as the lightning flash, will make thee thy 3 prizes forfeit, the prizes thou hast won. For know that the eternal knows no change. The 8 dire mysteries forsake for evermore, if not to wisdom sure. Thou canst not come, nor yet to liberation, saith the great Lord, the Tathagata of perfection, he who has followed in the footsteps of his predecessors. Stern and exacting is the virtue of Vairagya. If thou its path wouldst master, thou must keep thy mind and thy perceptions far freer than before from killing action. Thou hast to saturate thyself with pure alaya, become as one with nature's soul thought, at one with it. Thou art invincible in separation. Thou becomest the playground of samvritti, origin of all the world's delusions. All is impermanent in man except the pure, bright essence of alaya. Man is its crystal ray, a beam of light immaculate within, a form of clay material upon the lower surface. That beam is thy life guide, and thy true self, the watcher and silent thinker, the victim of thy lower self. Thy soul cannot be hurt, but through thy erring body control and master both, and thou art safe when crossing to the nearing gate of balance. Be of good cheer, O daring pilgrim, to the other shore. Heed not the whisperings of Mara's hosts. Wave off the tempters, those ill-natured spirits, the jealous Lamayan, in endless space. Hold firm, thou nearest now the middle portal, the gate of woe with its 10,000 snares. Have mastery o'er thy thoughts, O striver for perfection. If thou wouldst cross its threshold, have mastery o'er thy soul, O seeker after truths undying. If thou wouldst reach the goal, thy soul gaze, center on the one pure light, the light that is free from affection, and use thy golden key. The dreary task is done, thy labor well nigh o'er. The wide abyss that gaped to swallow thee is almost spanned. Thou hast now crossed the moat that circles round the gate of human passions. Thou hast now conquered Mara and his furious host. Thou hast removed pollution from thine heart, and bled it from impure desire. But thou, O glorious combatant, thy task is not yet done. Build high, Lenu, the wall that shall hedge in the holy isle, the dam that will protect thy mind from pride and satisfaction at thoughts of the great feat achieved. A sense of pride would mar the work, aid build it strong, lest the fierce rush of bathing waves that mount and beat its shore from out the great world, Maya's ocean, swallow up the pilgrim and the isle, yea, even when the victory is achieved. Thine isle is the deer, thy thoughts the hounds that weary and pursue his progress to the stream of life. Woe to the deer that is overtaken by the barking fiends before he reach the Vale of Refuge, Dhyana Marga, path of pure knowledge named. Ere thou canst settle in Dhyana Marga and call it thine, thy soul has to become as the ripe mango fruit, as soft and sweet as its bright golden pulp for others' woes, as hard as that fruit's stone for thine own throes and sorrows, O conqueror of weal and woe. Make hard thy soul against the snares of self. Deserve for it the name of diamond soul, for as the diamond buried deep within the throbbing heart of earth can never mirror back the earthly lights, so are thy mind and soul plunged in Dhyana Marga. These must mirror not of Maya's realm elusive. When thou hast reached that state, the portals that thou hast to conquer on the path fling open wide their gates to let thee pass, and nature's strongest mights possess no power to stay thy course. Thou wilt be the master of the sevenfold path, but not till then, O candidate for trials passing speech. Till then, a task far harder still awaits thee. Thou hast to feel thyself all thought, and yet exile all thoughts from out thy soul. Thou hast to reach that fixity of mind in which no breeze, however strong, can waft an earthly thought within. Thus purified, the shrine must of action sound, or earthly light be void, e'en as the butterfly, taken by the frost, falls lifeless at the threshold. So must all earthly thoughts fall dead before the fane. Behold, it is written, ere the gold flame can burn with steady light, the lamp must stand well guarded in a spot free from wind. Exposed to shifting breeze, the jet will flicker, and the quivering flame cast shadows deceptive, dark and ever-changing, on the soul's white shrine. And then, O thou pursuer of truth, thy mind's soul will become as a mad elephant that rages in the jungle. Mistaking forest trees for living foes, he perishes in his attempts to kill the ever-shifting shadows dancing on the wall of sunlit rocks. Beware, lest, in the care of self, thy soul shall lose her foothold on the soil of Deva knowledge. Beware, lest, in forgetting self, thy soul lose o'er its trembling mind control, and forfeit thus the due fruition of its conquests. Beware of change, for change is thy great foe. This change will fight thee off, and throw thee back out of the path thou treadest, deep into the vicious swamps of doubt. Prepare and be forewarned in time. If thou hast tried and failed, O dauntless fighter, yet lose not courage. Fight on, and to the charge return again and yet again. The fearless warrior, his precious lifeblood oozing from his wide and gaping wounds, will still attack the foe, drive him from out his stronghold, vanquish him ere he himself expires. Act then, all ye who fail and suffer, act like him, and from the stronghold of your soul chase all your foes away, ambition, anger, hatred, e'en to the shadow of desire. Even when you have failed, remember thou that fightest for man's liberation. Each failure is success, and each sincere attempt wins its reward in time. The holy germs that sprout and grow unseen in the disciple's soul, their stalks wax strong at each new trial. They bend like reeds but never break, nor can they e'er be lost. But when the hour has struck, they blossom forth. But if thou cam'st prepared, then have no fear. Henceforth thy way is clear right through Virya Gate, the fifth one of the 7 portals. Now thou art now on the way that leadeth to the Dhyana Haven, the 6th Bodhi portal. The Dhyana Gate is like an alabaster vase, white and transparent. Within there burns a steady golden fire. The flame of prajna that radiates from Atman. Thou art that base. Thou hast estranged thyself from objects of the senses, travelled on the path of seeing, on the path of hearing, and standest in the light of knowledge. Thou hast now reached the Titiksha state. O Narjol, thou art safe. Know, conqueror of sins, once that a Sawani hath crossed the seventh path, all nature thrills with joyous awe and feels subdued. The silver star now twinkles out the news to the night blossoms. The streamlet to the pebbles ripples out the tale. Dark ocean waves will roar it to the rocks. Surf bound, scent laden breezes sing it to the vales, and stately pines mysteriously whisper, a master has arisen, a master of the day. He standeth now like a white pillar to the west, upon whose face the rising sun, a thought eternal, poureth forth its first most glorious waves. His mind, like a becalmed and boundless ocean, spreadeth out in shoreless space. He holdeth life and death in his strong hand. Yea, he is mighty, the living power made free in him, the power which is himself, can raise the tabernacle of illusion high above the gods, above great Brahm and Indra. Now he shall surely reach his great reward. Shall he not use the gifts which it confers for his own rest and bliss, his well-earned weal and glory, he, the subduer of the great delusion? Nay, O thou candidate for nature's hidden lore, if one would follow in the steps of holy Tathagata, those gifts and powers are not for self. Wouldst thou thus dam the waters borne on Sumeru? Shalt thou divert the stream for thine own sake, or send it back to its prime source along the crest of cycles? If thou wouldst have that stream of hard-earned knowledge, of wisdom heaven-born, remain sweet-running waters, thou shouldst not leave it to become a stagnant pond. Know, if Amitabha, the boundless age, thou wouldst become co-worker, then thou must shed the light acquired, like to the bodhisattvas twain, upon the span of all three worlds. Know that the stream of superhuman knowledge and the depth of wisdom thou hast won must from thyself, the channel of Abhaya, be poured forth into another bed. Know, O Narjol, thou of the secret path, its pure fresh waters must be used to sweeter make the ocean's bitter waves. That mighty sea of sorrow formed of the tears of men, alas, when once thou hast become like the fixed star in the highest heaven, that bright celestial orb must shine from out the spatial depths for all, save for itself, give light to all but take from none. Alas, when once thou hast become like the pure snow in mountain vales, cold and unfeeling to the touch, warm and protective to the seed that sleepeth deep beneath its bosom. 'Tis now that snow which must receive the biting frost, the northern blasts, thus shielding from their sharp and cruel tooth the earth that holds the promised harvest, the harvest that will feed the hungry, self doomed to live through future kalpas, unthanked and unperceived by man, wedged as a stone with countless other stones which form the guardian wall. Such is thy future if the seventh gate thou passest, built by the hands of many masters of compassion, raised by their tortures, by their blood cemented. It shields mankind since man is man, protecting it from further and far greater misery and sorrow. With all man sees it not, will not perceive it, nor will he heed the word of wisdom, for he knows it not. But thou hast heard it, thou knowest all, O thou of eager, guileless soul, and thou must choose, then hearken yet again, on Sawan's path, O Shrotapati, thou art secure, on that marga, where naught but darkness meets the weary pilgrim, where torn by thorns the hands drip blood, the feet are cut by sharp unyielding flints, and Mara wields his strongest arms. There lies a great reward immediately beyond. Calm and unmoved, the pilgrim glideth up the stream that to Nirvana leads. He knoweth that the more his feet will bleed, the whiter will himself be washed. He knoweth well that after 7 short and fleeting births, Nirvana will be his. Such is the dhyana path, the heaven of the yogi, the blessed goal that Srotapatis crave. Not so when he hath crossed and won the Yahata path. There, klesha is destroyed forever. Tanha's roots torn out. But stay, disciple, yet one word canst thou destroy divine compassion? Compassion is no attribute, it is the law of laws, eternal harmony, Alea's self, a shoreless universal essence, the light of everlasting right and fitness of all things, the law of love eternal. The more thou dost become at one with it, thy being melted in its being, the more thy soul unites with that which is, the more thou wilt become compassion absolute. Such is the Arya path, the path of the Buddhas of perfection, with all what mean the sacred scrolls which make thee say, Om, I believe it is not all the Arhats that get of the nirvanic path, the sweet fruition. Om, I believe that the Nirvana Dharma is entered not by the Buddhas. Yea, on the Arya path, thou art no more Srotapati, thou art Bodhisattva. The stream is crossed. 'Tis true thou hast a right to Dharmakaya vesture, but some Bogakaya is greater than Nirvana. And greater still is Nirmanakaya, the Buddha of compassion. Now bend thy head and listen well, O Bodhisattva. Compassion speaks and saith, Can there be bliss when all that lives must suffer? Shalt thou be saved and hear the whole world cry, Now hast thou heard that which was said. Thou shalt attain the 7th step and cross the gate of final knowledge, but only to wed woe. If thou wouldst be Tathagata, follow upon thy predecessor's steps, remain unselfish till the endless end. Thou art enlightened, choose thy way. Behold the mellow light that floods the eastern sky. In signs of praise both heaven and earth unite, and from the full o'erfold manifested powers a chant of love ariseth, both from the flaming fire and flowing water, and from sweet-smelling earth and rushing wind. Hark! From the deep unfathomable vortex of that golden light in which the victor bathes, all nature's wordless voice and 1,000 tones ariseth to proclaim, Joy unto ye, O men of Nyalba! A pilgrim hath returned back from the other shore, a new Arhan is born, peace to all beings. And whether we say egregor, or whether we take things a little further in our understanding of the, the prophetic role, as it could be called, what was done before us matters, and what we do further can establish a way, at least in terms of a memory of a way, for others. And, all these things are just symbolic of working with your own psychology. Think of all the money that could be saved with psychiatry if people just, the prefatory note, do without will should be the whole law, love is law. It is not very difficult to write a book if one chanced to possess the necessary degree of initiation and the power of expression. It is infernally difficult to comment on such a book. The principal reason for this is that every statement is true and untrue alternately as one advances upon the path of the wise. The question always arises, for what grade is this book meant? To give one simple, concrete example, it is stated in the third part of this treatise that change is the great enemy. This, all very well, as meaning that one ought to stick to one's job, but in another sense change is the great friend, as it is marvelous well shewed forth by the beast himself in Liber Aleph. Love is the law, and love is change, by definition, short of writing a separate interpretation suited for every grade. Therefore the commentator is in a bog of quandary, which makes Flanders mud seem like polished granite. He can only do his poor best, leaving it very much to the intelligence of each reader to get just what he needs. Well, everybody's different part is going to have things play out a little bit differently, isn't it?